So my zombie body count's up to about 2,500 now. Would have been more if the golf club hadn't broken. Hey, I've covered wars, you know. And saved a lot of people in Willamette.
Excuse me.
Kids, mainly.
Okie doke. So this is kind of a very different video. Really, I shouldn't even be putting it on this channel. I should put it on my other review channel, but it's related to video games. So I just, for the first time, watched the movie Dead Rising Watchtower. Obviously based on the video game series of the same name, Dead Rising. If you're at all familiar with me or with my channel, you know that I am a huge Dead Rising fan. It is one of my favorite series of all time. It's definitely probably my second favorite video game franchise, honestly. I never am not entertained playing a Dead Rising game. I have played all the games to death, even Chop Till You Drop, but we'll get to that eventually. So they, a couple years ago, announced that Lionsgate was going to be making a Dead Rising movie, and I was pretty pumped, because it's something I've been wanting since, 2006, since the first game came out. And, yeah, so I literally just watched it. I found it on DVD, which I didn't even know that it came out, honestly. And I literally just ejected the DVD from my DVD player, and am now sitting down and talking about this. It's like 1 in the morning, but that's okay. While I was watching on my phone, I wrote down some some talking points just so I don't forget about some stuff. But right off the bat, I'm just gonna say I actually really enjoyed the movie. I've seen that it doesn't have a great, like, the Rotten Tomatoes isn't great. I think it's got like a 30%. But I've never been one to go by reviews, which is kind of ironic because I have a review channel and I'm also sitting down right now reviewing a movie. Oh, by the way, this isn't really a review. It's just kind of me talking about it. I'm not gonna, like, at the end say go buy it or don't go buy it. 10 out of 10. Stuff like that. I'm just essentially just shooting the shit here, talking about a movie that I just watched based on one of my favorite video game franchises. But overall, it was a fun little kind of like tongue-in-cheek zombie movie. It wasn't very Dead Rising-y. It had its moments, and when it was Dead Rising-y, it was like super Dead Rising-y. And I appreciated that a lot. There were a lot of references to the games, which I enjoyed. There was a lot of fan service in there. And, yeah, so, first off, the big thing in any Dead Rising game, comic, whatever, movie, the most important thing for me is the main character. If I don't like the main character in a Dead Rising game, I'm not going to be as interested. Frank is such a fantastic, no pun intended, main character. Chuck is great. I love Chuck. Nick's my least favorite, but that doesn't mean I don't like him. It's just on the terms of things, he's my least favorite, but I do really like Nick. The main character of this movie is a guy by the name of Chase. He's played by, I think his name is Mark Metcalf, or Mark Metcalf, I don't know. He's kinda like Frank West light. He's a journalist. He's trying to have like some website or whatever. And he's just going in there for like views and stuff like that. He's not very clever. He doesn't have any like funny one-liners. He's kind of an asshole. But I don't hate the guy. He did what he's supposed to do, and he grows as the movie goes on. But it's still not like, yeah, man, I want to see this guy come back. I want to play as this guy. I want to fucking sit down, play Dead Rising 4 starring Chase. The other main characters weren't, like, amazing either. Really, the best character in the movie, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a massive fanboy of the character, the best character in the movie was Frank West. Yup, Frank West is in the movie. He's maybe, screen time-wise, he's got maybe like a minute and a half of actual screen time. But they keep cutting to him through the movie, and it's every single time he's on screen, it is pure genius. He's kind of like a heightened, more asshole-y version of Frank West. And one of my favorite things about Frank West is that he is an asshole. In Dead Rising 1, all he cares about is himself. He is an asshole. And this is post Dead Rising 1 Frank West, kind of more or less the Frank West that you see in Off the Record, where he's trying to shill his book a bunch.
Let me tell you something. Read my book.
Oh, Jesus.
You know, he's got a very cocky attitude like, hey man, I survived Willamette. And I'm on the news talking about how you can survive, but buy my book. And it's really great stuff. The thing that really made me excited about the movie was the casting of Frank West. I always wanted the guy that played Doctor Doom in that shitty Fantastic Four movie. Well, hold on. There's 4 of those now. There's 4 shitty Fantastic Four movies. To be more specific, the one that came out in 2004. That one, Julian McMahon, I think the guy's name is. I always wanted him to play Frank West because I thought he looked just like Frank West. But Rob Riggle is the guy they got to play him. And Rob Riggle is an actor who I don't think I've ever liked him in a movie. Ever. Like, seriously, ever. Every single movie I see that he's in, he is my least favorite part of that movie. However, the day that it was announced that they cast Rob Riggle as Frank West in the Dead Rising movie, I was sold. I was like, yep, that is perfect casting. I don't know why I never thought of it before. Rob Riggle as Frank West is perfect. And you can tell watching the movie, he definitely had a lot of fun filming the movie. Like, you can tell.
Well, the first thing you want to do is take out as many as possible, early. So go for the weak ones first. Grandma, take her out. Grandpa, too.
I don't know how much of Frank in that movie was ad-libbed. I don't know how much of it, was Rob Riggle. I don't know how much of it was the script. I suspect quite a bit of it was probably improv, but it all fit Frank's character. At least the off-the-record kind of Case West Frank West that you see in some of the games. And that part of the movie, personally, I enjoyed the most. The goof factor, it was similar to the games in some respects. Like, it didn't take itself too seriously. Specifically the action scenes, it wasn't like 28 Days Later where it was like, God, look how fucking grim this is. Look how these zombies could kill anyone at any time. It's like, no, the first zombie you see is like a clown zombie. He's got an axe. He's a clown in like full clown makeup. There were a lot of fun like combo weapons that were ripped directly out of the games. And that was pretty fun seeing them. This movie was chock full of references. The main character Chase throughout the entire movie. This is probably the most obvious reference. He's wearing a Servbot shirt, like the entire thing. Well, to be more specific, it's the Servbot head is very prevalent on his shirt, and that's like the big nod. There's a scene where they're in a pawn shop or I don't know what you'd call it, like an antique shop, I guess. And they're in the back room, and Chase picks up a statue. And it's a golden Frank West statue. And those, you could actually see them, they're all throughout the movie. There's a few of them in the movie, kind of hidden. But, there's a golden Frank West statue, which are the collectibles, or one of the collectibles in Dead Rising 3. And I thought that was actually really neat that they did that. I wasn't expecting that. That to be established at all, that these actually exist in the world of Dead Rising. They're not just collectibles. Like, there are literally just Frank West statues. There's a scene where there's a reporter on the news with Frank. I don't know if this was supposed to be a reference or not, but she starts getting really pissed at Frank, and she at one point says, "Fantastic!" And I don't know, because she didn't really have the same inflection as Frank, but she said fantastic in a scene with Frank. I would assume it was a reference. There's one zombie in a scene. It's really random. I don't know. Again, this is another one that's kind of dubious as to whether it's a reference or not. There's one zombie in a scene that is like it's trying to kill this one girl, and then you kind of get a good look at this zombie, and he's wearing a yellow biker jacket. It's like a motorcycle jacket, and it looks kind of like Chuck's jacket from Dead Rising 2, like his IGEC jacket, but I don't know. It doesn't say IGEC on it, I'm pretty certain. It's literally just a motorcycle jacket that's yellow. A few little just kind of like odds and ends. There's a Servbot mask in the same antique shop. It's just kind of like just sitting there, and it literally looks like someone took a giant Lego head and painted a Servbot mask on it. And then one of the like cool things, the nod to the game, is there's one zombie attacking Chase at one point, and he finds a traffic cone and just puts it on her head. That was pretty funny. That's something you could do in those games. There's a scene in a warehouse where one of the main characters finds a decapitated teddy bear, and it's talking. It's saying stuff like, "Let's play a game. I love you. Let's be friends." And I'm pretty certain it's supposed to be a reference to Freedom Bear from Dead Rising 2. I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, it's just kind of there, and it doesn't make sense. If it's not a reference, I don't know what it's supposed to be. This one actually took me a really long time to figure out. I could not... It was bothering me, because throughout the movie, there's a character, Jordan, who keeps in contact with Chase via cell phone, and every time Chase would call her, her phone would ring, and it wasn't like a ring, 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 like, it was a song. And it didn't sound familiar. It sounded familiar, but it wasn't like a big, song that you'd hear on the radio. So I was like, that has to be a reference to something. Like, it has to be a jingle from the game, it has to be a jingle from another Capcom franchise, something. And I found a song in Dead Rising 3. It's a song from Dead Rising 3, is what I'm getting at. That one took me a really long time to actually find. Like, during the movie, I had to pause, and I was, like, desperately trying to find a song that sounded like that. And it's a song from Dead Rising 3, so that's something I found. The continuity with the games was, pretty good, actually. Like, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be in canon with the games. There's nothing in this movie that says otherwise, really. Like, none of the characters, like, Frank isn't so radically different than he is in the games that you could go and say, this isn't in canon with the games, this is completely different. It sets up a lot of things, actually, in Dead Rising 3. Not to get too spoilery, but Phenotrans and Zombrex are a big part of it, and you get kind of the genesis of the Zombrex chips from Dead Rising 3, which is a big part of that game. General Hemlock, who was like the big bad of Dead Rising 3, he's on a phone call at the very end of the movie with the Allstate guy. So that's cool. Again, continuity-wise, it's actually pretty good. And there's nothing to say that it's not canon with the games. I had a few problems with the movie. They're very minor. Like, it's a good Dead Rising movie. If you're a fan of the games, I'd recommend watching it, because it's littered with references, and it's cool to see Frank West and stuff like that. But if you're just, as a movie, and as a zombie movie specifically, it's not great. There were a few baffling decisions that were in this. Like, I don't know if someone decided to do this, or if it was just a choice that they made. I don't know. It's very bizarre. The big weird thing in the movie is that they kept doing this, like, weird... I keep saying weird, but it weirded me out. There were these strange POV shots, where it was, like, the weapons POV, and they were very brief, And they occurred more towards the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie, but in the middle, they're not, like, very prevalent. They're very bizarre, and they come out of nowhere, and they honestly don't look that good. And to me, it's like the director said, you know, these shots look really cool. We should put them in our movie, man. Another really just baffling thing, filming-wise, was that they would have these big panning shots, like, overhead of the city, so you could see the truck that the characters are in, or their motorcycle or whatever, driving through the city streets, and there are 0 zombies on the streets, ever. Like, you don't see anything. There is no danger in this city of zombies at all. There's like maybe 3 or 4 blocks in the entire city where there are zombies, but the rest of it is like you could go on living your day, living your day-to-day life, and you wouldn't even know that there was a zombie apocalypse going on out there. Like, it was baffling to watch those scenes, because it's like, okay, I understand you can't get, it's on a budget, it was released on the internet, this movie. You can't probably hire that many people to flood the streets of a city. But you couldn't even CG it, like, even if you didn't have the budget for good CG, you couldn't, like, shitty CG it? Like, just fucking put some fucking people on the streets, man. Literally, you could have just drawn some stick figure zombies and put them on the street. No one would have noticed. God, it was so baffling. There's literally no one on the streets. Hey. There were some, like, psychopaths in the movie. I was kind of hoping that, some more of the things from the game were transitioned. Like, people would use just random objects as weapons. That was cool. They're combo weapons. Frank West's in it, stuff like that. But I was hoping that, well, there's technically a survivor mission kind of thing. Because in the beginning of the movie, they find a mom who had to kill her daughter because she turned into a zombie. And they save her, and then she's with them for a good portion of the movie. So that's sort of a kind of like a survivor escort mission, kinda. And there's really only, like, one psychopath in the entire movie. Because there's a gang of bikers within the city that are kind of like, they're pillaging, they're looting, and they're killing just random people. That was when it felt the most Dead Rising. Like, there was a scene that felt like it was ripped out of the first game, where there was a couple, and the man decided to run up to the bikers and ask for help, and the biker killed the guy and started to chase after his girlfriend, and it felt very much like the scene in the first Dead Rising game where there's the 2 people in the park, and the convicts, the escaped convicts, beat the guy with a baseball bat and then try and chase after the girl, the guys in the Jeep. It felt very much so like that scene. And the psychopath, he's really the only psychopath in the movie. This guy, man, he fucking looks like Macklemore. I couldn't take him seriously. If they had literally designed him any other way, I would have really liked this character. Because the actor was actually really good. He might have actually been the best actor in the movie. The guy who played... What is that guy's name? I don't remember. Was it Jay? I think it was Jay. But yeah, this guy looks like Macklemore. But that's really all I have to say on Dead Rising Watchtower. Overall, I really liked it. I don't know if I'll ever really watch it again. Oh, here's another complaint, actually, before I go. It was I think it was an hour and 57 minutes total. I think that's a little too long. It felt like it went on forever. The scenes where Frank West wasn't in it, I was watching the movie, but I wasn't as engaged as when Frank West was on screen. Yeah, Frank West was great. The other scenes were good when they felt like Dead Rising, but otherwise it was just kind of like, this is kind of going on a little too long. I liked the conspiracy angle. Again, I don't want to really get into spoilers. There's like a conspiracy that pops up about halfway through. I liked that angle. I liked the characters. They weren't superb characters, but I liked them. They were good. And yeah, really, you know, again, this isn't really like a review. It's just me shooting the shit, talking about a movie I just watched. As a Dead Rising fan, I felt good about the movie, you know. There was a sequel announced, I'm pretty sure they announced a sequel. It's supposed to come out in like 2016. They can really only go up from here. I'd like to see more Frank West for sure. Like, that's for damn sure. I want more I want to see Frank West actually do something. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. I was satisfied with the movie. I'm not gonna tell you to go watch it. I'm not gonna tell you not to go watch it. Make up your own damn mind, you know? So yeah, thanks for watching. If you watched this video, stuck through it, you know, 20-something minutes of me rambling about a fucking movie based on a video game. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I got one more little tangent to go on. Capcom has had a very sordid history with video game adaptation movies. This one definitely ranks higher than a lot of other ones. Like, the Resident Evil movies are all total garbage. At least the live-action ones. The CG movies are really good, actually. Damnation and Degeneration, those are very good movies. But in terms of live-action, the Resident Evil movies are fucking garbage. The Street Fighter movies are fucking garbage. That Chun-Li movie, have you seen that? That's nonsense. That movie is terrible. One of the only good, in fact, I'd say great Capcom movies is the Phoenix Wright movie, the Ace Attorney movie. That's a damn good movie. Maybe I'll talk about that sometime. I don't know. That's a good movie. It's a real good movie. I'd say in terms of enjoyment, for Capcom movies anyway, it probably goes the Phoenix Wright movie, the Ace Attorney movie, then the CG Resident Evil movies, then this Dead Rising movie, and then throw all the rest in the trash!
Coming up next, celebrity dogs.
Celebrity dogs.